Donald Trump has made multiple different comments at multiple different rallies this past week alone that have drawn serious attention in the headlines. Of course, over the weekend, we had his bloodbath comments that were allegedly about the auto industry, but nevertheless, those comments blew up across liberal and conservative media. Then, just a couple days after that, you had his anti-Semitic comments in an interview with Sebastian Gorka, where he said that any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. He also said Democratic Jewish people hate Israel. So he is attacking Jewish people. He's talking about bloodbaths. But the point of all of this is exactly what I predicted. Donald Trump has completely imploded and has been swamped with nothing but negative publicity ever since his last Republican opponent, Nikki Haley, dropped out of the race. I sat right here telling you, when Nikki Haley dropped out, this is horrible for Donald Trump. Because up until the moment Nikki Haley dropped out, all of these websites I look at every day, all these news aggregators, including Washington Post and New York Times, right? They all still had stories about Nikki Haley. And once she's out of that race, as I told you back then, and I'm telling you again, 100% of the spotlight becomes focused on Donald Trump. Every time one of the Republicans dropped out, more focus was paid to Donald Trump. And now that there's no other Republicans in the race, all of that attention comes to Donald Trump, which is what he's always wanted. But it's kind of like one of those wishes you see in like the Twilight Zone where, hey, I wish everybody was paying attention to me, and you get your wish. But, you know, the downside of that is that you can't stop saying stupid and horrible stuff. 4 weeks ago, the media wouldn't have spent as much time covering these comments. 2 months ago, the media was barely even thinking about Donald Trump not being able to pronounce words and not knowing who he's running against, not knowing who the current president is. And of course, like he said this past weekend, that Biden beat Obama in the primaries. He's deteriorating, and the media wasn't covering it up until there were no other Republicans to talk about. Now they're talking about his cognitive decline. Now they're talking about the horrible things that he is saying. They are covering things that they otherwise would not have a month or two ago. And again, I don't mean to sit here and sound boastful, but I literally sat right here and told you that is what would happen. When the last of the Republicans dropped out, that was the worst thing in the world for Donald Trump. Now everybody is hyper-focused on the trials. Now they're hyper-focused on him not being able to pay the bond. They're hyper-focused on everything and anything involving Donald Trump, and that's the worst thing in the world for him. The thing he wants most, everybody's attention, is the worst thing in the world that could ever happen to him. Ever since the last Republicans dropped out, here, just to prove my point here a little more, the new polls that have come out, ever since the media has been focusing more on Donald Trump, do you know what they tell us? Uh-oh, Biden's back ahead again. That's what happens. And again, told you that was going to happen too. The more Donald Trump hogs that spotlight, the more he is out there, the more the media is forced to focus only on him, the less the general public likes him. And we are watching that play out in real time right now. So for Donald Trump, the best thing to do is to disappear for a while. Stop doing interviews where you say horrible racist things. Get off of Truth Social. Don't do rallies where you make horrible statements, even if they're taken out of context. It's bad for your campaign. But he can't do it. Because that thing that is killing him, all that attention, is the thing he craves most in the world. And he'll never give it up, even though it's destroying his campaign.